I am Erin Patten, metaphysical master in a millennial age, and it is my life's purpose to guide you and organizations along an enlightened path. So I invite you to sit comfortably and tune in as I welcome you to the Meta Business Millennial, where we get the real conversations you won't get in the boardroom so that we understand this is exactly the path we need to be on in order to grow, evolve, and thrive. Greetings. I am Erin Patten, also known as Master L, and welcome to the Meta Business Millennial Podcast. It is Monday, Meta Monday, and we are coming off an amazing weekend, an amazing eclipse energy. And of course, we're going to still be talking about it and feeling it for months to come. So I want to make sure we're all grounded in that. And before we get into it, I want to make sure that all of you know to follow me at I am Erin Patten across social media. Also, the Meta Business Millennial has its own handle, so be sure to follow us. And if you feel called, definitely like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share this with friends because this message needs to be heard by the people. Okay. So now getting into the work, the message for today, not the work, but the message, because it is work at the end of the day. However, we don't want it to feel like work. And I titled this episode today, The Secret to Business Success, because I feel like there are a lot of secrets that I drop, a lot of gems that I drop in this podcast. And the number one secret is we want this journey to be pleasurable. And I feel like this is something that I myself am still learning how to embody. Let's put it that way. Because how I've done business, particularly how I've done work, how I've approached anything in life, starting back in school, like this was part of the programming, was with a lot of seriousness. Because when we think about being disciplined, when we think about being focused, it's about the seriousness of it and not necessarily the fun aspect. We think about fun being separate from the work. And that's just not going to be sustainable moving into the future. And going back to what I was sharing in the beginning around us feeling this eclipse energy and what that actually means, because I started last week with us being, okay, we're supercharged, we got our superpowers, we're activated. Now, what is that? How do we leverage that going into these next few months? Now that we've gotten this supercharge, now that we've gotten this extra support, we need to be able to know that, okay, I want to align this with something that's very meaningful to me. And when we want something that's meaningful for our lives, if we want something that, that's aligned with our passions, then we also want that said thing to be fun, right? We want it to bring us pleasure. We want to be happy. And there's so many times I know when y'all hear leaders or y'all hear motivational speakers talk about, if you choose a career path that you're passionate about, it'll never feel like work. Well, this is kind of along those same lines, but with such a little bit of a higher note, if you will, and a bit more of an intentionality around it as well. Because sometimes we can be delusional. Sometimes we can be living sort of in the illusion that we are enjoying something when we actually aren't, because we don't take the time to sit with ourselves and ask ourselves, do I enjoy doing this shit? Like, do I actually enjoy my life? Do I actually enjoy, the work that I'm doing, where I'm showing up? Do I like the people who I'm hanging around? Are you asking yourself these questions? And this is part of that journey of the knowing of self, if you will. The self-actualization is leaving no question, leaving no stone unturned. Okay. Like, you really have to ask yourself all of the hard questions. I feel like when we get into relationships, maybe I'm feeling this way because I'm kind of dating now, and I am dating now, and I'm meeting people, and you get on, you're texting, or you're on apps, or you're in, on dates, and you're asking someone all these questions because you want to know about them and about their lives and what brought them to now. Yet, are we also returning that line of questioning to ourselves. And in many ways, kind of dating ourselves in the process. And this is what actually this life is about. It's about cultivating, deepening our relationship with ourselves. And that creates that secret that I was speaking to of that pleasurable experience. Because when you're dating yourself, just like if you're dating someone else and you're like, I love you, through the good and the bad, till death do us part, like, the good and the ugly, like it should be the same for yourself. And, I feel like I get on this topic a lot, and I'm just probably going to continue to because it's going to always have a different layer to it. Yet we must be able to come into that knowing of ourselves without the judgment and without the punishment. And I'm speaking to that so I would say passionately because it's been my own journey. Like I said before, I grew up very disciplined. I grew up very focused. I was like straight A, perfect attendance, gotten, always really, like kind of military boot camp tiger mom, like upbringing. And so what that created in me in terms of my programming for myself was a really harsh and punishing um way of getting things done, like, even as I was going on my spiritual journey, I'm just clenching my fist right now. But even as I was going on my spiritual journey, I was just like so disciplined. I was always fasting and abstaining from things and really had took this austerity approach to wanting to be the best person I could be. And that at the end of the day is not a pleasurable experience. And we know it to be so because we have to feel into it. And that's also part of the work is being able to know what you're feeling. And this kind of sounds like simple, yet many people are not aware of how they're feeling, of what they're feeling, or even how to name those feelings. And so when we want to think about like, is this pleasurable? Is this for me? Is this aligned for me? Then we have to think about how we feel, not just think about how we feel into how we feel, know how we feel, be sure in how we feel. And those signals come from our body. And this is the work that I was doing when I was in my Tai Chi practice. Like I did a lot of Donjon tapping and all kinds of like physical exercises to really bring more attention and intentionality to my body. Because as physical beings, as man, as woman, we have this avatar here that is always firing off signals to us, whether we're aware of it or not. And in this age that we're in of painkillers, in this age of numbing, of prescription drugs, no disrespect to those who are on medications or have to do things for different ailments, yet these are contributors to the numbing of those sensors that are going off in our bodies many times, particularly painkillers. Because when we're feeling pain in our body, when we're feeling dis-ease in our body, that is the signal that there is some emotional instability in your being. And the emotional instability really signals that, okay, there is some soul work that I need to do. What in my life, what people in my life, what experiences in my life are not aligned with me right now. And this speaks really clearly to me because when I was going through my Harvard experience, my whole moniker is I went from Harvard to healing. And I'm very open about everything in my life. So excuse the openness. But when I was going through the Harvard experience, I suffered really seriously from IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. So I would get such anxiety. I'd be running to the restroom. I'd be vomiting. I had such issues. Like I was doing all kinds of tests and all kinds of things I ended up getting on Xanax or one of those anti-anxiety medications. Was on sleeping medication. On top of that, was drinking and partying all the time. And this was like in my 20s, So this for me, I'm speaking from personal experience for those that, may connect with this or may have, experience with this because this is an example of not being connected to the body. I was so out of my body. I was so wanting to please everybody around me, wanting to be perfect at Harvard, be perfect in my jobs, be perfect traveling around the world, representing Black people. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I was always thinking about somebody else. And that created such turmoil and chaos in my being that literally I was always kind of in a state of anxiety, if you will, of fight or flight. And so my core was just very inflamed, always on fire. And I didn't even realize it. I was still seeking counsel outside of myself to try to fix something that was within me. So I'm saying all this to say or give you examples of what it means to be out of body, what it means to be disconnected from yourself, so much so that you are not even in tune with your feelings. Because that was a part, very, very significant part of my journey to now. And, the flip side of that, when I started my Tai Chi practice a few years ago, tapping my gut, that same area that was so inflamed, you know, you know, a while ago, being able to tap into it and then not even feel it. Like I didn't even feel it. I would be tapping for months. I was doing my Tai Chi and I was like, no, I don't really feel anything. And then finally I started to, okay, get this the sensation in my being. Oh, wow. I feel something there. And oh, wow, it feels really uncomfortable. And actually, when I get around these people or when I'm doing these things or when I'm watching this, it makes me feel really uncomfortable. And so this is really how it starts, that secret to success and that secret to having the pleasure in your success is being able to have the sense of success, the sense of stability, if you will, the sense of homeostasis, of really of beingness, of centeredness, of alignedness, of balance. And a lot of us are always like, oh, I'm looking for work-life balance. I need work-life balance. Yet that balance starts with the feeling and the sense of it within you. Like, are you rushing through everything? And this is something that started to come online for me as I started to sense myself and my being, like how I rush through everything, how I'm rushing to go to the grocery store. I'm rushing to brush my teeth or clean my face or get dressed. Like everything was really anxiety driven. Like having more beingness in just what I'm doing, the daily activities. Like, why am I always so tense just doing basic life activities? And this is how we start to have that pleasurable experience, not only in our businesses, but in our lives, in our relationships, because we start to sense our being. Wow, I'm not feeling good right now. Maybe I should rest. And then also having the courage, because it does take courage to communicate to other people. Because I know that we're in this world of ghosting, we're in this world of flakiness. Like, trust me, I've had my fair share on both ends. Let me just say, I've been the perpetrator and then also been the receiving end. Because it's hard for people to communicate honestly how they feel. First of all, because they don't know how they feel, to my point before, us not knowing how to feel into our senses and feel ourselves. And second of all, because it's really hard to communicate to people and have that rejection potentially, or not have that understanding from someone or that grace from someone. And this is a piece that I think that a lot of people are dealing with in this day and time. How to have healthy communication, how to be healthily vulnerable and actually not be so, I guess, attached to whoever you're communicating to, their response or their reaction. Because we really want to be supported always. We really want to be loved always. And if we're not getting that in return, so be it. We have to give that to ourselves. And then this is really poignant for me because, I've just recently had to communicate, I couldn't go to something that I had promised someone I would go to. I felt really bad about it, but you know what? I stood on my shit and I sent the text message and was like, I'm feeling this way. I'm double booked, sending you so much love. Can we make it up? And that's really hard for people to do. That's really hard for people to do a lot of times. I really wish more people would do that. And then have the other person respond, okay, I completely understand. I really wish you could have been there with me. Let's figure it out. It sounds really easy, but this shit does not happen often. People's feelings get hurt, people get offended, all kind of things happen in the interim of people just communicating their truth. And this is what precludes, if you will, that pleasure. This is what precludes that success. Because when you operate in this state of anxiety, this state of feeling offended or having to defend yourself, that is a lower state of consciousness, period. Low state of consciousness. And what we're talking about here, and what I've been sharing too in general, is these are higher level consciousness conversations, higher level consciousness considerations, higher level consciousness emotions and feelings. And they sound very simple. However, in reality, the practice takes work. And I come back to this time and time again that the work is you. You are the work. You are the career. You are the business at the end of the day, because your business shows up everywhere you fucking go. I got to keep it real today. I'm keeping it extra real today. I see a lot of people coming in and out of the room. So definitely drop comments to let me make sure that you're known and feeling seen, because I see you. And I want you to know that these emotions, these feelings are certainly necessary for our success and for our pleasure. And this is what I talk about. And I'm going to get into the meta business world work, because I always talk about the meta business world, my company, and what we do. This is when I speak to organizational dis-ease. Yeah, thank you for that. This is good. Yeah, when I talk about organizational dis-ease, this is what we currently, in most cases, experience in our businesses, whether we're working for ourselves or working with others. It is the burnout. Like, I'm working so much, I actually am too scared to talk to my manager about taking more off my plate. When there's more given to me, more projects given to me, I say yes. I don't want to say no. I don't want to look like I'm not a team player. And then you're like fumbling the bag and making mistakes and actually not bringing all that you can to the projects because it's actually too much for you to handle. You got life, you got kids, you got partnerships, you got marriages, you got family. You have so many obligations, yet you're continuing to say yes, setting no boundaries. This is part of that disease. I follow so many of these accounts on Instagram now that are like human resources and things like that about the heinous aspects of the corporate world. And just it's really sad how we've gotten to the place where we're so uncomfortable with speaking our truth. And we're really not, not only are we not comfortable, but maybe we don't even know what our truth is to even speak it. So this is when I say we have to come back to the knowing of ourself, the sitting with ourselves. Even if it's just for a few minutes, like right before this podcast, like I'll tell y'all my whole life. Like I wake up in the morning, I'm getting ready. I have to get my son ready. We have to get ready to go, take him places. Then I have to make sure my mom's good. I have, in-home care for her. And then I have to come here and prepare for my podcast and speak to you all and bring this energy. And I'm like, Erin, like, how do you even have time to meditate, before 9, 10 o'clock? Well, I just take 5 minutes before my podcast. I do my tap in, my meditation. I pray to God. And here I am in my fullness, in my truth, and in my power. 5 minutes. And that is what I'm encouraging all of you to think about too. How do you build in 5 minutes into your day to sit with yourself? It don't have to be no hour of meditation of home That would be amazing. That would be amazing. And actually, I do get those moments sometimes. However, when we think about our lives in this reality in 2024, wherever you are in the world, it's very difficult to have that hour of home time. So let's just start with 5 minutes. 5 minutes before you get into something that's really meaningful to you every day. It doesn't even have to be first thing in the morning. It doesn't have to be late at night. You don't have to be on your knees at the bedside. You can be wherever. You can be in your car. You can be in the toilet. You can be anywhere, sitting with yourself, tapping into yourself, tuning into yourself, asking yourself, what do I want? What do I need? And then giving yourself the time to give yourself an answer. And it may not come immediately. However, we keep questioning ourselves. And I'm getting a little bit like goosebumping with talking about this because I remember doing this with myself years ago, asking myself, what do I want? I had no clue. I knew I was in pain. I felt like I was between a rock and a hard place. I was broken. Let's just put it that way, broken. And it reflects in so many ways on the bank account, everywhere. And I would be meditating, asking myself, what do I want? And I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see anything. I was in so much shit. I actually couldn't see the light. I was in the cave, the darkness of the cave. However, I never doubted my ability to see eventually. And look at me now, enlightened being. So I really want to encourage you as someone who's been through this, you have to sit with yourself. Ask yourself, what do I want? Just that simple question, what do I want? And then you will start to unfold. Answers will start to appear and come to you. And then they will evolve. And then they will reverse and they will evolve more. It'll be like this undulating, you know, journey up to the top of the mountain, ups and downs until it is this perfected vision. For me, the meta business world is perfected vision. The next 10 years, next 9 years now, 700 enlightened business leaders around the globe, touching hundreds of millions of people, lifting consciousness and human consciousness, collective consciousness. That's my vision. I see it very clearly. My ranch properties, my yachts, whatever, the whatever, however it will manifest, the lands, the buildings, the communities, that will all be empowered, inspired by these messages. I see it very clearly. And that's why I'm able to show up every Monday. I don't care how many people in the live room, right now it's like in and out, people in and out. It doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter because I already see my vision fulfilled. I already see what God promises me, what God has promised me. So all I have to do is show up and do my part, no matter how many people are there. And I know this is difficult for a lot of entrepreneurs who are really concerned about following and bank account and clients and all these things because we're so conditioned for external material validation. And trust me, I be going through that too. We definitely love to see the material, the physical validation, and it does come in all kinds of forms. Yet at the end of the day, the true validation comes from that internal, intrinsic fulfillment. I want to say that again. We really are always looking for external, monetary, people validating us. Yet the true fulfillment, the true validation comes from within. That's how I'm able to show up here every week. That's how I'm able to show up on calls. That's how I'm able to move through rejection. That's how I'm able to post now my truth and not care how many views I get. I don't care. I don't have to say fuck the algorithm. I actually love the algorithm for what it is, because I'm going people who see me are supposed to see me. I'm not trying to necessarily reach the masses. I'm trying to reach those who need me, me, who want to learn from me. That's all I need. And that is a very, I would say, unique way of viewing this media world. The media world that's been so commoditized by clicks, by likes, by views. Who is actually seeing this shit though? Who is actually being touched by these messages? Are they bots? Are they human being bots? Or are they conscious beings on a journey? And that's who I'm going after. And that's who you should be going after too. And so I'm so glad I'm speaking to this, because it's taken me a long time to get here. And awareness of now, and the awareness of now is certainly a thing. And having that awareness of now, and knowing that as long as we are here and now, and feeling into that here and now, getting back to the secret of that pleasurable feeling, and knowing that you have that right now, and you carry that into every now moment. And the more you carry that into your now moments, the more you will see the universe, the successes, the money, the validation unfold for you effortlessly. It'll happen effortlessly, because you will be in alignment. And I know it to be true, because it's me. It is happening to me. And with that, I feel like that's a great closure to this episode. This has been such, oh my God, it went by so fast. And I'm so grateful for you all that tapped in, that really felt this message, that really were able to connect with me, because this was a pure channel. I had no idea what I was coming into talking about today, but God just moved through me, and this is what came out, and it feels so good. And I want to invite you all to visit my website, erinpatten.com, learn more about my programs, the Meta Business World programs. The Meta Business World methodology is a beautiful methodology that I created to really support individuals and organizations in working through, like what I talked about before, organizational disease. I have my VIP day where I come in for smaller activations, for speakings, for keynotes. Then I also have my strategy work, my meta strategy work, where we can deeper dive into transformation for yourself and your organization. And of course, pair all that with my meta coaching, which is one-on-one work with you. So you can get to your dreams much faster, because my gifts is to collapse time for you to get to your vision. Okay. So follow me at I am Erin Patten across social media, also at the Meta Business Millennial Podcast. Like this video, comment more, share with your friends. I love you all so, so much. Peace. Did you really love this episode of the Meta Business Millennial Podcast? Well, I am honored, and I appreciate you subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends, because your feedback allows us to co-create more enlightened conversations. And if you're interested in growing your soul now, head over to my website, erinpatten.com, to find all the show notes, links, and free resources to get your energy activated today. In the meantime, stay bright, my friends. Much love and light. Peace.